Alright, hi guys. I don't plan to be in this video. As you can see on the wall, I have all of these things written. I'm really hoping that you'll be able to see. So this will be the beginning to all the videos that I'm hoping to get started on specific topics and popular questions that people have asked. I'll try to do one every week, but with life being crazy, and it might end up being every other week. I'd absolutely love if you had any questions or specific topics to write me, and I'll get to it as fast as I can. So today I chose to do love. We can never hear that enough, that God loves us unconditionally. Choosing love, I chose to read the story called The Room. It is from a college student who wrote it. There was talk on it being that he died and he'd had this dream, but he came out and said it was just something he wrote for a college class. So all the titles behind are like different sins or just things we may struggle with or we've done in our life. So like, I don't know if you can see up there, top one, it says addictions I've had, and then it just continues to go down all of these. So, also want to share that we will be starting Bible study again, and if anyone is interested, just let me know and I'll let you know when we're starting again. Okay, so the story is called The Room. The Room. That place between wakefulness and dreams, I found myself in the room. There was nothing but a wall, filed floor to ceiling with files. Like a library, they were in alphabetical order. As I drew near the wall files, the first to catch my eye was parties I've been to. Opening the file and flipping through the cards, I quickly shut it, realizing that I recognized everything listed on each card. And then, without being told, I knew exactly where I was. This lifeless room with all these files was a crude catalog system of my life. Here were written the actions of my every moment, big and small, in a detail of my memory that my memory couldn't match. A sense of wonder, curiosity, and horror stirred within me as I began randomly opening files and exploring their content. Some brought me joy and sweet memories, others a sense of shame and regret so intense that I would look over my shoulder to see if anyone was watching. The file named Friends was next to one marked Friends I've Betrayed. The titles ranged from dull to outright weird. Books I've read, lies I've told, disobedience to my parents, swearing. They kept going. I never ceased to be surprised by the contents. Often there were many more cards than I expected, and sometimes fewer than I'd hoped. Could it be possible that I had time in my many years to write each of these thousands or millions of cards? But each card confirmed this truth. Each was written in my own handwriting and signed my signature. When I pulled out songs I've listened to, I realized the cards in this file were packed tightly, and yet after continuing to pull it open, I hadn't found the end of this file. I shut it, ashamed not by the songs, but by the vast time I knew the file represented. When I came to the file marked Lustful Thoughts, I felt a chill run through my body. I pulled the file out only an inch, not willing to test its size, and drew out a card. I shuddered at its detailed content. I felt sick thinking that such a moment was recorded. A rage broke inside me. One thought dominated my mind. No one must ever see these cards. No one must ever see this room. I must destroy them all. I yanked a file out. Its size didn't matter now. As I began to shake the file over the floor, not a single card fell out. I became desperate and pulled out a card, only to find it as strong as steel when I tried to tear it. Feeling defeated and utterly hopeless, I returned the file to its slot. And then I saw it. The title bore People I've Shared the Gospel With. This file was brighter than the others. I pulled on the handle, and a small box no more than 3 inches fell into my hands. I could count the cards on one hand, and then the tears came. I began to weep, sob so dearly that they hurt. I fell on my knees and cried. No one must ever see this room. I must lock it up and hide the key. But then I pushed away the tears and I saw him. No, please, not him. Not here. Oh, anyone but Jesus. I watched helplessly as he began to open the files and read the cards. I couldn't bear to watch his response, and in the moments I brought myself to look at his face, I saw sorrow deeper than my own. He seemed to go to the worst files. Why did he have to read each card? Finally, he turned and looked at me from across the room, with pity in his eyes, but this was a pity that didn't anger me. I dropped to my knees, covered my face with my hands, and again began to cry. He came over to me and put his arms around me. He could have said so many things, but he didn't say a word. He just cried with me. He then got up and returned to the files, taking out a file at a time, one by one, began to sign his name over mine on each card. No, I shouted, rushing to him. All I could find to say was no, no, as I pulled the card from him. His name shouldn't be on my cards, but there it was, written in red, so rich, so dark, so alive. The name Jesus covered mine. It was written with his blood. He gently took the card back. He smiled a sad smile and began to sign the cards. I don't think I'll ever understand how he did it so quickly, but the next instant, it seemed, I heard him close the last file and walk back to my side. He placed his hand on my shoulder and said, "It's finished." He led me out of the room. There was no lock on the door, and there were still cards to be written. So I hope that you are able to take something from the story and be able to apply it to your life. Feel free to share it with people. And here's a Bible verse that I figured I would share with everyone on love. Alright, thanks guys.